Hello friendly viewers and welcome to Planet Earth, our loving home. With a return to more natural and sustainable lifestyles, organic food, which is both healthy and beneficial to the environment, is becoming more prominent around the world. On today's program, we will visit an organic farm in Austria. It uses no chemical fertilizers, pesticides, or animal-based fertilizers, and yet this farm reaps a plentiful harvest year-round. Let's meet Helmut to find out how this is achieved.
Hi, I'm Helmut from Austria. I'm an organic farmer, and today I would like to show you a little bit around on my farm. The size of the farm is 1.7 hectare, but we only use around 4,000 square meter of this land. We have around 30 different varieties of vegetables, and we have more than 100 families. They get vegetable boxes from this farm every 2 weeks. In average, per month, we deliver 150 boxes. On this small bit of land, there are around 20,000 plants growing all year. We have enough snow and rain here, but most of the moist is in winter. So in summer, sometimes it's very dry, and sometimes we have periods of 6 weeks without rain. So I found some solution for this dry time. I put a lot of straw and grass cut on the ground, and this really works very well. I will show you this later. At the end of the season, we cover the whole vegetable garden or vegetable land with straw, so that the soil does not freeze in winter. That means that all the microorganisms stay active all the year. It is not necessary to use any manure from cows or pigs or whatever, or some chemical fertilizer. The microorganism produced natural is totally enough to plant vegetables. The only thing is that these beings, they need also food, and we give this by straw or grass cut. There's a group of plants where the straw method works very well. In spring, when we clean the whole field from the straw, we put the straw on 1/3 of the field all together, and here we plant these different plants. There are the zucchinis, the squash, physalis, and inside the greenhouses, cucumbers, peppers, and tomatoes. It is very easy. The only thing what we need is to have big plants so that they are not covered by the straw. And we put the straw on the surface and make little holes and put the plants in. Of course, this method does not work with carrots, parsley roots, celery, onions, leek, or cabbages. Here we have to use another method. We have to hoe it a few times, which is not very difficult, and then finally we bring in grass cut between the plants. The effect of the straw is, of course, very good. Even when it's very dry in the summer, it stays wet underneath. This we can see here. When you move this, it's really completely wet underneath. And this is a very good soil. And of course, all this moist also goes to the plant. And this moist never disappears. I think this method is also very good for Mediterranean or semi-desert area. You can keep a lot of moist in the ground even when it rains only once a year or once every second year. You can see it's really wet. It's like if I would have watered it before. But this is just the normal moist from the ground. The moist comes always up and if you cover it a little bit, then it cannot disappear. So now let's go into the greenhouse, and I can show you a bit where no water has been used for 3 years and it's still moist inside. Here in the greenhouse we have some dripping water system for the plants, because otherwise they would not survive. But in between the rows we have straw to keep it wet. And on this part for years there was no water. But I can show you now, if I dig down there, it's totally dry here on top. But when you come down, you can see the soil is completely black and it looks moist.
Planet Earth, our loving home, will return shortly after these brief messages, and Helmut will demonstrate the unique cultivation method applied to his organic farm. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Welcome back to Planet Earth, our loving home, here on Supreme Master Television. On today's program, Helmut, an organic farmer from Austria, introduces his successful organic agriculture technology.
You can see the grass is now in this box, and here are the beans, and it's just like this that I put the grass in between the rows. It's important to put not too much into the row so that it doesn't get wet or fungus. This is enough. The soil is covered and the water cannot disappear anymore. Of course, after a while it might be necessary to go through and hoe the weeds a little bit. After 10-15 days you can hardly see anything from this grass anymore, because all these animals that live in the ground, they have already put it down and they had an excellent meal. So here you can see the third generation of green beans. They will be ripe in late September. What you can see here, I was hoeing these 3 rows just half an hour or an hour before, and you can see the soil is already white. Here, where I didn't hoe, you can see that the soil is dark. That means that the water or the moist is coming out from the ground and is disappearing into the atmosphere. Here it is similar to having mulch. The capillary system of the soil is interrupted so that the water and the moist cannot go into the atmosphere. The way of hoeing is quite easy because it's not a big effort. I will show you now. It's just like working with a broom. You go just on the surface and it's very easy. Don't put any effort on this. Just cut the wild herbs, what is above the soil, from the root. And that's it. And in half an hour or 1 hour, this will be also dry and no moist will come up. Of course, later we will put also grass cut into these rows. If you have a little bit experience and practice, you can make 100 square meter in 1 hour. For a family, when you calculate the vegetables for a family of 4 or 5 persons, 300 square meter of garden is enough. Of course, it depends in which area you are. So you can easily produce with an effort of between half an hour and 1 hour per day all the vegetable you need for your family. Now I will show you how we produce the little plants. We have two types of these sheets. One has 77 holes and the other one has 45 holes. These smaller holes are for all the salads, brassicas and smaller plants like fennel. And this is for zucchinis, squash, peppers and tomatoes. Then I press it a little bit with my fingers. So now I cover it again. So that's all. And now I make little holes with my finger also. Now we put the seeds in one by one. This is a late salad which is a little bit frost resistant and can be harvested until December if the winter is not too cold. So now we cover it a little bit. Press it a little bit. And that's it. Finally we put a little bit of water on top, and in between 3 or 4 days we should see already something. And here you can see endive plants we've planted 2 weeks ago, and they are ready maybe in 10 days to plant them outside. We plant them very late, at the beginning of August, because they are frost resistant a little bit at least, and we can harvest them end of September until the middle of November. There's one saying in our area, and they say 1 time hoeing is better than 2 times watering. And this is really true. I made this experience. When you hoe, then the water stays in the ground, so there's no need to water the plants. But of course, all this experience I made are here north of the Alps. We have enough rain. I do not have any experience how this could be in the south or in semi-desert areas. But I think when I would use straw or grass cut, it also could be a very good harvest. Zucchini, squash, peppers or tomatoes or these other fruits which like more warm areas, they can grow very well under these conditions.
Thank you for joining us today on Planet Earth, our loving home. Our show airs every Wednesday on Supreme Master Television. Next week, we will continue to introduce Mr. Helmut's organic farming techniques for a bountiful and nutritious harvest. Up next, stay tuned for enlightening entertainment right after noteworthy news. May the Providence bestow blessings of peace and happiness in your life.